Hello again, it's Tracy again from the Tea Plays Nice podcast. I can be found on Ravelry, Instagram and Facebook as Tea Plays Nice. Today is Monday the 16th of February 2015. Again, late for last week, early for this week. I've got no set day really where I record. I just do a recording as and when I can. So I try to do one about every 7 or 8 days if I can. I try to do a weekly one, but then it kind of like slips away from me. But I'd like to say, my name's Tracy, by the way. I'd like to say thank you for all the people that keep coming back and watching. To anybody new that's watching, we have a forum on Ravelry to go with these podcasts, which is Tea Plays Nice podcast. With subscribers and members of the forum, they're slowly growing week on week, and it's lovely to see, and I do try to respond to everybody. I'm trying to set up a bit of chit-chatter in the group and get things going, but it will take time because it's a new podcast and a new group. So there you go, we've got 2 shout-outs for new people to the forum group this week, and that is Wyburn123 and Judy Lee 59 Knits. Hello guys, welcome. I'm hoping you'll be chatting along soon and we'll all have some fun. And because I didn't do a podcast last week and I'm a little bit early for this week, I've decided to do the birthday shout outs from the 13th until the 23rd of February in this week's. And there's only one lady, and that is AnneFran25, wishing you a very, very happy birthday for last week, because I know I've missed it by a couple of days. And just in case you haven't watched yet, AnneFran25, you have to go and watch the 2 Tangled Skeins podcast that they've recently put up. Their very last one they put up, you have to watch if you haven't watched it already. I don't want to give anything away, but you have to go and watch it. I'm so excited for you. Okay, so let's get on with the podcast. Nothing really new to report in my world at the moment, other than finally I got back on my healthy eating plan. The last week it went a little bit awry because of work again. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I work all day Friday, and then I do Saturday evening and Sunday evening. And then I do a very early Tuesday morning, and then I do a Wednesday night. Now that tends to play a little bit of havoc with my eating schedule, but 1st of March my hours are going to change, and I'll be just doing the Saturday night and the Saturday night, Sunday night in the shop for the little village shop that I work in. So I'm quite looking forward to that. Looks like I'll be helping out at the knitting shop starting the 4th of March, and that's just going to be one day, which is quite nice. I'm quite looking forward to that as well. So it allows me to get back on my knitting plan and knitting on the brain, my healthy eating plan. So that started last week. I do follow Weight Watchers Pro Points purely because I can eat what I like on that. And it's worked for me. I did lose 6 stone. I don't know if I've ever told you that before. I lost 6 stone. I was a big lady. I know I'm not super slight now, but yes, I've lost 6 stone in weight on Weight Watchers, and I've managed to keep off 5 stone of that for 3 years. Was it 2 years? No, 3. 2 or 3 years. Can't quite remember. But along with that, I do like to run, and I've let that slide a lot. I haven't really ran properly, in all honesty, properly run for about 8 months. So I've got back on the Coach to 5k this week. I've done the first 2 runs of week 2, and I'm hoping to do my 3rd run tomorrow, and so that's going to slowly progress. Anyway, you don't want to hear about that, you want to hear about the knitting. And I always start with, what's that you're wearing? Well, what's that you're wearing this week leads into a finished item. I actually finished my Lawrence for the Knitting Den Cal, the knit along, and the Apple Blossom and You knit along. They're doing a joint one. They both got podcast and they both got Ravelry groups. So it's Denise from the Knitting Den, who I kind of know, and I flick over to the Apple Blossom and You one, and I do watch their podcast, and I joined in their cow. And because I watched the Pen, Hooks and Needle Pen, Hook and Needle podcast, and I'm in their forums as well, they were doing the jumper sweat along, and I was allowed to double dip or treble dip in a way. So I finished Lawrence. Now I knitted it in Rowan felted double knit, and it came out, when I finished it, I posted photographs of it pinned and everything on Instagram and in the groups, and it was a really light fabric, and it was longer than the pattern intended it to be. It kind of like stretched after I blocked it, and I thought it's okay. When I put it on, I thought it's very light, and it's longer than it should be, and it's very loose, and I was happy with it. But I thought, oh, I wish I'd maybe done it in the chunky. But then my husband washed it. God bless him for doing that, because it's actually in the name, I suppose, felted double knit. It has actually felted slightly, and I think it's gone to the weight that it should be. So there's the cow, and that was the welts that I had to learn to do, and it's got welts along the sleeve. It has, I'm going to stand up slightly, it has got a pattern there, but with the felting, mine's kind of like gone very subtle. But you've got the pattern, and it goes down to, comes down to hip height on me, and again it's got the welting around the edge, and it actually fits me if I do a little bit of a twirl. And it's got the same on the back, it's got that panel. Is it this side? I'm not sure. It's got the panel. So there we go, that's my Lawrence all done and dusted. Now Cheeky Denise from the Knitting Den podcast said I was showing off because mine was finished. Denise, I only knit it super quick because I was sulking because somebody was on a retreat for knitting called the Sock Bunny Retreat, and they went away and they did lots of lovely scrummy things, and I was stuck in the cold UK sulking basically because you were on that. So I was not showing off, I was just working hard while you were playing. So that was that one. And now I have another finished object that I hadn't even started when I spoke to you guys last. Now my husband likes fingerless mitts. Now my poor husband, I've never knit him anything. I tend to knit because he likes black and navy and greys, and so I don't knit him nothing really. And I felt really bad because he had some fingerless gloves and they were normal ones, and they'd gone a bit holy around here, and my husband's got a degenerative back. Is that a word? Degenerative? Might be a word. Might have had one of Tracy's made up words. Anyway, he's got bad back and crumbling spine, and he walks with a stick, and the cold weather really does play havoc on him, and he gets sharp pains shooting up and everything. So we need to keep his extremities slightly warm. And he was sulking, so I decided, as a little bit of a surprise for Valentine's Day, to knit him some new fingerless gloves. And I picked up Rowan worsted wool because it's a nice thick wool, and I knitted him some fingerless gloves. Dwarf to see that they're finished. Now I only bought the wool on Wednesday for these, and they were all done for Valentine's Day, so I was quite chuffed with that. But the pattern I followed was a free one, and I had to go hunting for a pattern for hubby because the lady designer is Steph Thompson, Thomson, which I find really strange because my first married name and my children's surname was Thompson, Thomson, and it just seems really strange that because everybody tries to put a P in it. So anyway, I digress. The pattern needed to be an extra large pattern because my husband has huge hands. Huge hands. Oh. So I did the men's convertible gloves and thumbs. They're fingerless, but they've got the option to do a little cap for the thumb, and they've got the option to do the little mitten cap that comes over, but he didn't want them. He just wanted the basic fingerless gloves. And these are for extra large men. And I haven't got, I just want to show you. I don't want to show you the pattern. It was a free one. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. So it's Men's Convertible Gloves and Thumbs by Steph Thompson. And they knit up really easy. It's really lovely instructions, and you can do them knit 2 on 2 circular needles, so you can knit both gloves at the same time, and she gives really clear instructions for mitten A and mitten B. But I'm not very good at that, so I did them one at a time. And they're really comfy, cosy, warm. But if I can just show you what I mean by hubby's huge hands. I mean, I'm not kidding, my wrist is where the wrist should be. If I can get it. Look! My thumb wouldn't even poke out there. So that is my other finished object for this week. So 2 finished objects. It's good going for me. I was really quite pleased with that. And I do love my Lawrence. Do love that. So that was my finished objects. Excuse me, runny nose. It's really cold still in the UK, down our way. Let me just, sorry about that. I think I might have a little bit of a sniffle come in. So what's on my needles this week? Westering Home is still on my needles, but I've not made no progress this week at all. Obviously I concentrated on Lawrence to get that off the needles. I was trying to condense my knitting down. So I was trying to get things done. So, which failed because I cast on the gloves. So Westering Home is still waiting for some love. So I've not done anything on Westering Home this week. The test knit that I'm doing, I love the lace. I really do like the lace. The look of the lace is really, really lovely. But I really do need to start concentrating on this pattern because I'm having to rip it out again. I've gone wrong again, and I keep forgetting to put a lifeline. I don't do lifelines because I don't normally have such a problem with concentration, but there is something about cotton and this pattern and my brain and my chattering to my husband or watching TV programmes that I don't normally watch. EastEnders. Don't normally watch EastEnders, but all I'm going to say is I think knit cotton did it. That's all I'm going to say. We find out this week, and it's the only time I've ever started to watch EastEnders on a regular basis is to find out what's happening, because everybody around me is talking about it. So all I'm saying is knit cotton did it, if you watch EastEnders in the UK. Well, that's my opinion. Might be proved totally wrong by the end of this week, but who knows. So yeah, so my test knit hasn't been going very well, so I've got to rip it out and start it again. Then because hubby's gloves were finished, I had some wool left, and I knew I'd put back another ball because I didn't know how much. It said 350-gram balls for the gloves, and I only, that was like an Aran weight, and I used worsted, and I bought one ball because it's $8.95 a ball, and I put one ball back on layaway in the shop, and I thought, well, I've got one ball put back, and I didn't use the full ball on the gloves, so I cast on. Now I need to go and get some more yarn because that's all I've got left. I need to go and get the other ball, and I've cast on the bankhead hat. I caved in and started doing him his very own bankhead. So, and I actually love the rib on the bankhead because it was how my nan taught me to do rib. Anyway, My nan always taught me to do the twisted rib. She said she preferred the look of twisted rib on all cardigans and all jumpers. She actually liked it to normal knit one purl one. So it's reminding me of one of my nanas. So I've got the Bankhead hat on the needles at the moment. So that's one. And then I found, excuse me, I'm going to lean over. In my stash from way back when, I found 2 balls of Marble Chunky. And it's the colour MC6, which is the browns, the blues. Like everybody else, I wish they'd give them nice names rather than boring numbers. And this is 200-gram ball. And there's 312 metres on a ball. Now I found 1.5. Don't know what I was doing with them. If I lean it in, you might be able to see the colours on there. We've got a bit of blue and the browns and the reds. Well, I've got 2 balls of this, and I thought, do you know what? I knit for everybody hats and scarves. And we were going out for a walk the other day. My husband said, you've got no hat apart from the woolly worm head one I did the other day, which, to be fair, when I'm walking the dog and it's windy, it does tend to blow just a little bit because I blocked it a bit too harsh. So I've decided to knit myself a dog walking set with this. I wanted something a little bit fun, so I cast on by Alison Britt, B-R-I-T-T, another free pattern from Ravelry. It's called the Tappy Hattie, and it looks like a children's pattern, and I'm going to do it in chunky, even though I'm doing it on 4.5s, even though they've done it in 4 mils, and I think they've done it, yeah, they say any double knit, although you could use worsted weight to make it slightly larger. So I'm doing it on 4.5s, and I'm using a chunky, so I've got quite a nice thick hat. And it's the Tappy Hattie, and I just love it because it's a cute square one with pom-poms. So I'm going to do the Tappy Hattie with the pom-poms, and I might actually put some flowers or something down here to make it really funky for when I'm walking Oscar. I will show you Oscar one day. I kind of come up into my craft room and shut the door for quiet. But I must get, maybe one day if hubby goes out and I do a podcast downstairs, I can get Oscar to come say hello. So I'm going to do the Tappy Hattie, and I cast it on last night because I couldn't work on the Bankhead and I didn't want to work on Western Home. And again, it's just normal rib, and then it goes, it's a free pattern, and it's kind of like slip 1, knit 3. I don't want to give too much away because it's a pattern, so if you just kind of like go on, and I've just started doing the pattern on that, so that's going to be my Tappy hat. What do you think? Nearly the same. Oh, that's quite nice. You can see the colours. See? Tappy hat. I think it will look quite nice when it's done. And yes, I did have my hair cut. My friend cut my hair for me. And I was trying to be brave, and I was going to go spiky. I have all these spikes coming out like this. And she cut it with a razor. Bit scary. And when she put all the thing on it, and I came home, hubby looked at me, and he could see by my face, and he kind of went, "It's not you, is it?" And I was like, no, it's not me. So I've kind of like smoothed it back down, and I'm just going to kind of let it grow a little bit. She did do a nice cut, but I'm just going to let it grow a little bit and go back into just smooth. I think I'm too OCD on my hair to have random spikiness, because if the spikes aren't in the right place, I could see it driving me absolutely bananas, in all honesty. So spiky hair, well, it wasn't going to be spiky, it was going to be like, you see these ladies with this lovely rough hair that's just nice and just looks like it's flipped, they've just gone like that and it's flipped, quite nice, and it looks lovely. Mine doesn't do that. So I'm going back to smooth, but it's cut and now I can actually see without it dripping into my eyes. The other thing on my needle still is Mum's bed jacket. I have done a little bit more than last time, so you can actually see. Last time I just managed to do 2 of the repeat, and now I've done, was it 2 of the repeat or is it 4? 1. Can't remember now if it's 2 triangles is 1 repeat or 1 triangle, but I've got that far now. So it's not needed till June, so I've got plenty of time if I can get other stuff done. So that's Mum's bed jacket come along with my flower of the, and I was going to crochet a flower a week for the lovely blanket. It's not had no love at all since, because I keep getting distracted, because I do like this and I do love the pattern and I do really want it. I keep getting distracted by Kay from Bakery Bears and a few other people that are doing the scrappy sock yarn granny motif, and I just kind of like thinking it's different colours all the time and it just looks so pretty. So I think I'm gonna, oh, I don't know, I think I'll carry on doing some of this and I'll do some of that with sock yarn as well, although I have to buy more socks yarn and actually knit some socks first to be able to do that. So that's why in Tilly Trout's forum in the week I did ask for if anybody can help me with just a really simple toe-up sock pattern that might even knit up quite quick. I'd quite like to do it on worsted as well, worsted weight yarn. Oh, that won't work, will it? No, I need to do a sock yarn one. Need to do some sock yarn socks for my blanket, but I also need a nice pattern that I can do with worsted weight yarn, as I said, because my husband's, I'm worried that the 4-ply bit, although it's warm, won't be warm enough for him. He needs a chunkier, warmier sock. So some nice worsted weight socks, if anybody knows of nice patterns for them, or a simple, like to get me started doing 2 socks, because I do one and then I think I'll never get around to doing the second one. So that's all what's on my needles this week. So the stash that I had this week you've basically seen, because it was the Rowan worsted for the gloves and it was the marble chunky for my hat, the tappy hattie. I was hoping to be able to show you my yarn box yarn this week, but there was a problem. Not the lady's fault at all, not Devon Sun Yarn's fault at all. I actually emailed her Friday to say, a little bit worried, my yarn box hasn't turned up. And she said she'd had it returned to her saying that I'd moved house on that day. And I thought, hubby, what have you done? Have you been naughty and sent my yarn back? But it wasn't hubby. It actually went, when I looked onto PayPal, it actually put my previous address on the invoice. It does it automatically for some reason, even though I've set my new address as my primary address. Every now and again, PayPal seems to have a blip for me and sends it to my old address. Now, my old address is not 5 minutes walk away from my new address. Because we live in housing association houses, we did a mutual exchange with the people that live in my old address, so they know me. And I actually work on a Friday day in the little shop opposite their house. They sent my yarn back. And then I served him in the afternoon and he knew he'd sent my yarn back. I was not altogether best pleased. If that was me and something had come here and I could see it was a parcel, I would have walked to the house and give it to them. Obviously, some people don't think the same as me and they just sent it back. So now I have to wait for it to turn up to my new house. So Devon Sun Yarns have now put it on their invoicing system that this is my address. And hopefully I shall get it soon. So, that's that. That's all my knitting, and I think I talk an awful lot quick because I seem to get through my podcast very, very quick compared to some people. I'm not finished. I've still got a couple of things to talk about. I need it in my life. And again, Denise, I think it's quite funny that you commented on Instagram and you actually said it in your blog and your podcast last week that you started to need things in your life. I think we all need things in our lives. And I think every podcast should have a I need it in my life section. Now, there's only one thing I really, really need in my life at the moment. And that's a teacup. A teacup and saucer, to be exact. I have searched all the supermarkets around me for a very nice, elegant teacup and saucer. I am trying to wean myself off coffee. Now, I only drink black coffee anyway, and it can be the jar, Dow Egbert's jar coffee, or it can be the cafetiere coffees that you can buy. But I was drinking only coffee and juice of an evening. When I was having my evening meal, I would always have a juice. Which reminds me, we forgot to buy it today at shopping. Anyway, so I've been looking for a nice teacup and saucer to try some of the flavoured teas. And I very much like green tea now for my morning drink instead of my coffee with my porridge oats. All about being healthy. And I just thought I would like, I've got a nice chunky mug for coffee. And I've got the latte cups. And I thought I would like a very nice teacup, elegant teacup and saucer to drink my flavoured teas. I've even resorted to looking around the charity shops, thinking, you know, a lot of teacup and saucers, bone types, they're very, very nice. You're bound to pick one up. I have searched everywhere. I even went into Tavistock the other week, searched their charity shops because that's more of a upmarket area. There was no teacups and saucers. You can buy them in sets, but I don't want a set. I just want a very nice teacup and saucer. Locally, that's not going to break the bank. And that's all I want. That's all I need in my life right now is a nice teacup and saucer. Can't find one. Getting so frustrated. So, talking of teas, I did buy a nice Taylor's tea today. Taylor's. And it's sweet rhubarb. It's very, very nice. Very, very nice indeed. I've just enjoyed a cup and a mug before I came up to do the podcast. And I was hoping to have a nice teacup to have with my tea and share a cup of tea with you. But alas, no. Foiled again. No teacups and saucers. So what else are we going to talk about this week? I've got a couple of other makes to show you that one's in progress and a couple are finished. Whilst in Ravelry, oh, I forgot to tell you, before I say anything else, on the tplaysnice forum on Ravelry, I've started a thread. Now, I like to read books, I like to read novels, and the thought of belonging to a book club always kind of like has intrigued me, and I'd like to be involved in a book club, but I don't know any loco to me, and I would feel a bit intimidated that there might be literary type people and really brainy people at these book clubs. And I just thought, not everybody can get out to a book club, so how about doing a virtual book club? along with the forum. So I've opened up a little thread. A few people have commented already, and I thought what we could do is maybe, I was going to have people suggest books, but then I kind of thought, well, there's a bestsellers list. And I thought maybe we vote on the top 10 of the bestsellers and we all read a book. And I was thinking maybe do it over 2 months, 3 months. I'm not sure how quickly people read books. I personally, if I'm in reading mood, I can read 2 books a week. I tend to speed read, but I'm quite happy to read a book and discuss it with, and I thought that would be a really nice idea. So we just need to get the logistics down. If you're interested, pop along to the forum and say count me in, and we'll start this book club in the forum. I thought that would be lovely. Good idea. And get me reading some of the books that I wouldn't normally choose for myself. I must admit I'm a Karen Slaughter fan, and there is a guy who started online. I downloaded his first book he ever wrote on Amazon. I'm sure it was Amazon for the Kindle, and it was by Mark Sennen, and he's a local guy. I didn't realise. I kind of like started reading the book and I thought, he's talking about Crown Hill Police Station, which is my local police station, and it is a detective series where there's murders, and he talks about all the areas around me, so I find it quite surreal that sometimes I'm kind of like reading and he's got the area spot on, so he must know where I live really, really well. But it is literally, even one of the streets he mentioned in one of the books is 4 streets away from my house. So it was kind of like, I really enjoyed reading them, so I do read his when they come out. I like Karen Slaughter, but I read anything. Rippers Bodders, Mills in Bit. I like chick flicks, I like detective stories, I like thrillers. I will basically read anything. So I thought that would be a good thing to start. And another thing on Ravelry, I was along, and I kind of like the idea of giving people, I've said this before, I kind of like doing random acts of kindness. I've done a couple secretly since I've started podcasting. The people that received them will know. I've done a couple, and I quite like the fact of doing swaps and things. And I know my podcast forum is way too new to start that type of thing going off. So I've actually joined one, and it's called Spoiler Long 2015. And it's a group of ladies, and they set a theme and they give you a swap partner each month. But it's for Christmas 2015. So you get given a theme or a budget, and I'm not sure how it's going to progress. But they did it last year, apparently, and it was a closed little group. They're inviting a few more people in this year. Obviously, it has to be quite well monitored, because they're really wary of some people just joining and not sending. But I don't think there's many people on Ravelry that would do that, to be honest. I might be naive, I don't know. But I've joined up for this, and I'm thinking I will have some lovely presents from other people to open on Christmas that are yarny, because although my family love me and they know I like yarny things, I don't always get yarny things for Christmas, because they think I tend to go off, and I know what I like because I am a crafter. None of my family are crafters, so they struggle, and I understand that struggle. Unless I go in and say, oh, I want that, I know what I'm kind of like getting, and so these will be nice surprises that I think that will force me out of my comfort zone, or that'll get me to do something else. So I'm quite looking forward to that. So I've kind of like signed up for that this year. So Christmas is going to be so fun this year. And I'm going on to go on to the other things I'm making now, because I kind of like started and then went back to Ravelry forums. Before I came away from my business, I did do a bit of quilting, and I started a quilt, and I did a lot of paper craft, but I also like to draw and colour. And one day while I was working in that shop, I was drawing seashells, because I live in Plymouth and we're quite close to lots of beaches, and I love walking on beaches, and I particularly love walking on beaches when it's stormy. Not silly stormy, where you life-threatening storm. No, don't do that. Why do people do that? Risk your life? No. Be serious, people. Be safe. So I like to walk my dogs when it's, or Oscar, on the beach. When it's blowing a little bit, shall I say then. I just feel the wind in my hair, what's left of it, and things like that is quite nice. And so I was drawing these seashells, thinking I wanted to do some kind of seashell themed quilt at one point. And I stopped because obviously I lost the love of the shop, lost the love of the quilting for a while, didn't want to do anything. And I did actually draw some seashells onto fabric and colour them in, and put a medium on them that actually makes it washproof. And I've done, if I'm going to try and show you, I've done the sea with the waves in fabric, and then they're the seashells that I drew and coloured. That one's not so good, but they're the seashells that I kind of like drew and coloured in on my calico, and then I went into the sandy beach and the rocky beach type. I thought that was rather seasidey, and that's as far as I got, piecing this kind of quilt top together. And I was sorting out some old quilting stuff the other day, and I thought, I came across this, and I thought to myself, it's long enough to fold in half. And if I sew it there and do some, I've got a lovely project bag that is seashell themed and big enough to take a sweater, I think. So that has been saved from the rubbish bin. Because yes, I am known to throw projects away if I've left them too long and I know I'll never get back to them. So that's been saved from the rubbish bin, and I'm going to make that into a project bag at some point. So that is, and that will be a one-off for me, because to sit and draw and colour in with watercolour pencils, the shells, I don't know if you can actually see, if I get maybe the Conchi one. I'll show you. To get the shade in. I'm not the greatest, but yeah, it takes time. So that's going to be a little project bag just for me. And then, coming from Papercraft, because I've joined the spoil along, we've got a couple of girls' birthdays, and you've got set themes. You only sign up for when you want to do them, so you don't have to do it. I think they did January, February, then they do March, April, and I think it's going to be like 6 months for Christmas presents. But they do flash giveaways, and they do flash swaps, and they've got birthday swap going on for those that want to take part in the birthday swap, and things like that. And I just thought I liked the sound of this, so I signed up for it. And I've got 2 birthdays coming up, and I don't think the ladies on there are aware of my podcast yet, because I'm not very good at self-promotion. But I made these, and then I kind of like showed them to somebody, and I said, what about selling them in an Etsy shop? Okay, I make cards, and that's my little sheep, and it says happy birthday to you. And this is a smaller one that says happy birthday to you, and I've handwritten this, so that's not a stamp, that's handwritten, and then I've cut out the little sheep. I just think, maybe, I don't know, what would people buy if open up a little Etsy shop. I've got other ideas. I've got other like thank you cards and things, and I've got another idea for something else, and maybe starting it. Do you think? What do you think? Would you? Let me know if you like them and think I'd be interested. I could start up a little Etsy shop, perhaps. Let me know, guys, on what you think on that. So that's it, I think, as far as the podcast goes this week. I'm desperately trying to catch up on all my podcast watching. I know there are new ones out there. They are all lovely, and some of them do some lovely giveaways. I'm hoping to do a giveaway on my 10th episode. I'm going to do a little giveaway. I don't know what yet, but I will do some kind of giveaway on my 10th episode. I'll do kind of maybe comment on the thread on thread 9, or do something in the forum, but I will do a little giveaway on my 10th podcast, guys, because I feel I need to give back for everybody watching and everybody joining in, and for everybody that comments on the forum. And if you haven't joined yet, pop along. We are trying to get along, and remember the book club. I think that'll be quite a nice thing for everybody to do. Everybody's welcome. All other podcasters are welcome to join me in the book forum and anything on my podcast forum. It'd be nice to see some of you guys there. Haven't quite picked out what knit along I'm going to do next. I like doing a knit along because I kind of like to see what people are doing. And I did want to enter Doris from Knit One Pearl podcast. She did the mitten along. I don't think my fingerless gloves counted because it was mittens and I did fingerless gloves, so I haven't posted them there. But Doris, if you do watch this, could you let me know if it is eligible, because I don't want to break any of your rules, but I didn't want you to feel that I wasn't joining in on your knit along. I did intend to, but I ended up doing fingerless mitts or fingerless gloves instead of mitts. Okay, so thank you everybody for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye for now. Bye.